perspective. I'd like to see him put it all together this year.
And away we go. Several Games athletes from the past here in this heat, and a few looking for their first appearance. Noah Olson looking for his first podium at the Games, and that quest begins here in heat number 4.
And it's anybody take the bait to try to go touch and go in the beginning. And it looks like everybody's finally figured out that that is not the way to win this event.
If they do want to win this event, they will need to be fast. 6 minutes, 58.7 seconds. Daniel Petro back in heat number 2 with the current time to beat.
What you're looking for in the first series at 10 is to solidify your technique, to calm the nerves, but keep the adrenaline. What you don't want to do is use that adrenaline now. It's not going to help you out in the 10 reps. In fact, it's going to hurt you. You're almost going to come down from that high by the time you get to the round of 8 in the round of 6. Breathe deep, hit your reps. In fact, hit pinpoints. Get the bar to your hip every single time. And make sure you snap the wrists over at the top. Ingrain that good technique and use it as we get further down the bars.
In white and blue, that's an athlete that missed the Games a year ago, looking to go back. Travis Mayer, the first athlete through 10 reps at 185. Not far behind him, Craig Williams in lane number 3. Excuse me, that's Nathan Trevelyan in lane number 2. Several other athletes now working on putting that bar together for 205 pounds, 8 reps. The first one to make their way to the bar for a lift will be Nathan Trevelyan in lane number 2. Quick pace, not much break in between.
What I'm looking for here is the tempo these athletes take in between each rep. You want to keep that slow, steady pace, making sure, like I said, don't rush anything. You're not going to muscle your way through. And Travis Mayer on the right side of the screen trying to go a little too fast. He can't, you know, he's amped up to be here. He missed the Games last year. He's been training like a madman in the offseason, had some good local competitions. You can't let the moment get bigger than what you're doing at this particular time.
And still hanging around those leaders, the two athletes that are the absolute favorites to most people when you come and look at this Atlantic Regional. Ben Smith on the left, Noah Olson on the right.
Ben Smith just consistent every single repetition, and that's what you need as you go through 205. Noah Olson struggling a little bit in that overhead position. I think he might be a little too excited as well, because it's not a heavy weight for him, but sometimes when you get a little out of control, you move a little too quickly, right? The snatch is the one movement that everything has to be dialed in to look well.
He seems to almost be pulling that bar down when he catches it. He's pulling it so high, but somebody moving into the picture for the lead. Ben Smith onto the set of 6. One of the stronger athletes in the field here in the Atlantic. A 300-pound snatch is in his repertoire. One of 3 athletes throughout the entire field of 40 that can put up that number. Trevelyan continues to lead. Smith in second. Noah Olson, Travis Mayer making their way to window number 3 as well. And also making their way to that picture in lane number 9, Ryan Elrod. Might have my favorite profession of anybody in the field, a Cirque du Soleil performer, Ryan Elrod in lane number 9.
I like to see who he does in event 2.
Nathan Trevelyan out of Durham, North Carolina, just 21 years old. His 3rd regional appearance, leading the way. And when you can be saying that you're leading Ben Smith, Noah Olson, Travis Mayer, and the rest of the field like this, that is a huge confidence boost early on in this weekend.
It is, but it's just the round of 225. The barbell gets real once we get over to 245. That was a little better of a lift for Noah Olson. He's going to slow it down just a little bit. You're only in the round of 6 at 225. This is where you want to make sure that everything's on point. Starting position, second position where you have the bar, keeping it close, and that finishing receiving position. If any of those are off and you don't have confidence in those positions, it's going to really drastically hinder you moving into 245 and 265.
Nathan Trevelyan will be the first athlete to move to 245, and for those curious, all 10 athletes did beat checkpoint number 2, that 4-minute window to get through the 205, working on that 6-minute window to get through 225. Olsen standing up 225. Trevelyan getting set for his first rep at 245. And that roar that you heard from the crowd here in Atlanta was because off-camera Ben Smith moved through window number 3 and onto window 4. And the champ is putting everybody on notice right now. A very smooth, steady, very Ben Smith-like performance here in event number 1.
Well, if anybody moves through events these days like the champ, Rich Froning, does, it's Ben Smith. He starts slow. He starts steady. He doesn't miss. He keeps improving. Where you see guys move ahead, kind of let the excitement take a hold of him just a bit. But what Ben's going to do is just that steady pace. It looks the same at 185 as it does at 245.
New leader, Ben Smith, with about a minute until the event record and over a minute until the time to beat of 6:58 for Daniel Petro. So Trevelyan has seen his lead disappear, and Ben Smith, we talked about it, he's got to avoid that slow start that he normally has at regional events. Looks like he's realized, I got to win if I want to make it to defend my title.
And Ben Smith's fully capable. He's a new athlete. What we saw at him in the CrossFit Games is what we have been waiting for the last 7 years from Ben Smith, and he finally showed it on the biggest stage possible.
And you kind of had an idea that there was a little aggression change in Ben this year when he said, oh, by the way, I'm actually testing the regional events this year, something he's never done. 265 looking easy. If he can get back on the bar, we might see an event record to go with an event win. And the champ is here to defend that title. 6:43 event 1 win for Ben Smith.
How about that? The fastest turnaround between lifts was at the heaviest barbell, 265.
Trevelyan looking to hang on to second. He's the only one working at 265. That'll be second in the heat. The time of Daniel Petro has passed. Noah Olsen finishing up 245.
Noah actually looks a lot more stable at 245 than he did in the earlier bars.
And that was one of the things that Noah, almost a weakness, relative weakness, was his strength game. Seems like he's really put that together here in the past year or so.
Oh, he's really worked on that in the offseason as Nathan Trevelyan's kind of looking over, knowing that he's not alone, he's not in the lead anymore now that Ben is finished. But looking over his shoulder to Noah Olsen, what he needs to do is to just make sure he's playing his own game.
Nice patience in the bottom. Trevelyan will stand up the rep at 265, 1 to go. Also on to 265 up in lane number 1. Gary Helmick looking for a return to the games for the first time since 2013. Helmick in white on the left side of the screen. Olsen good on his first rep at 265. Trevelyan drops his second at 265, and that opens the window for Olsen to pick up a few more points.
Now what Nathan can't do is get to the bar too soon. I don't think his shoulders are in a good position to receive that bar. He showed earlier that he can handle it well. It's not going to be too heavy for him, but you have to be ready. That's practically a full rep that he did that didn't get credit for. As Noah Olsen, I see he's looking around on the field.
Trevelyan under, standing it up. Olsen stands it up a little bit faster. The sprint over the bar. It's going to go to Trevelyan by a split second over Olsen.
No, Nathan got no reps.
Oh! Looks like he might have dropped the bar a little too soon before he fully stood it up.
I think he might have stepped out of the bar.